Hi, everyone. Welcome to our Washtenaw Audubon program for November. We're really delighted to have all of you here. Welcome to the Zoom audience, as well as those of us in person. It's great to see everyone. I'm Juliette Berger. I'm president of Washtenaw Audubon Society, and I'm excited to see all of you. Really excited. As you might know already, our membership voted to drop Audubon from our name at the last meeting on October 18th. And so we're going through a process now of choosing a new name, and everyone should have received a statement from us today in their email. And there's a survey there where you can vote on what your choices might be for a new name. And we'll be getting yes, excuse me, make suggestions. Yes, we're not voting, we're making suggestions at this time. And then a committee of interested people from the board and the community will be deliberating on those suggestions. And then we will be voting on a new name at the April meeting. That way, our snowbirds will be back in town, hopefully. And that April meeting is the third Wednesday. If anyone knows what the date is for that, I'd be happy to share that. But otherwise, it's the third Wednesday in April. April 17th is when we'll be voting on our new name. And that needs to be an in-person vote. So plan to be here. Usually at this time, we talk about, well, first I'm welcoming everyone, regular members, and you don't have to be a member to attend any of our programs. Also, make sure everyone helps put the chairs away at the end of the program. But we usually like to talk about interesting bird sightings. So has anybody seen anything interesting or cool lately? Yeah. Anything that the Zoom audience might have seen lately that might be cool to share with the whole group?
So right now, London, Ontario, which is about a 3-hour drive, there's a rosy finch.
The gray-crowned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gray crown. And it might actually be the same rosy finch that was photographed in Indiana.
Yeah. So Michael Kelb says that reminds us that there's a gray-crowned rosy finch in London, Ontario, and it might actually be the same rosy finch that was being seen on the Northwestern campus, I think. Yeah. There have been an absolute literal ton of golden eagles coming through the region. Today, 18 came through the Detroit River Hawk Watch. The day that many of us were down at the Torrey Road Hawk Watch here in Washtenaw, 16 came through the Detroit River Hawk Watch that day, and 6 of them were visible coming through the Torrey Road Hawk. Actually, 7 of them. One of them roosted at Torrey Road for the night. So that was a pretty amazing sight for those who caught that. So I'm sure the numbers of golden eagles are over 100 for the year through the Hawk Watch at the Detroit River, which is pretty.
Branch, Holland, Michigan, which you can see right in downtown Holland, Michigan. Window on the waterfront.
Fantastic. So Pat DeVenter tells us that there's a branch in Ottawa at the Window on Wildlife in Ottawa, Michigan. And also I went to see the branch in Luna Pier. And that was like an easy jump out of your car and go onto the pier and oh, there's a branch. Later that day, the Detroit News happened to run into us. Karen Markey and I were out there, and there was a front page story a week ago, Friday, on this crazy bird. Lots of pictures of us and the bird. Yeah. So that was fun. If you could get the Detroit News, you can have a look at that article. It's behind a paywall, and I paid $1 for 6 months worth of looking at the Detroit News online, so I could get a look at it. And then it goes up to $15 a month. That'll be the end of that. Andrew? How can I forget? Andrew Powell reminds us that we had a one-day wonder of a limpkin show up right along the banks of the Huron River in the Arb. And those of us who were lucky enough to see it was really thrilling. And it did not stick around for those of us who didn't run out to see it that afternoon, unfortunately. That was fantastic. Thank you, Andrew. Want to remind folks about some of our upcoming events. So this weekend on Saturday, we're going to Belle Isle with Oakland Audubons, the annual joint field trip that we always do. And that's meeting at 8 a.m. at the Nature Center on Belle Isle, and I'll be going. And there's something happening almost every weekend. So check the website and Facebook. Matt Spohr, our field trip chair, has been doing a fantastic job of arranging all kinds of amazing field trips for us. There are some winter tree ID field trips coming up. There's a nature walk at Keebler-Langford. There's restoration work days, bird things. The Christmas bird count is coming up on December 16th, excuse me. And on and on and on. I can't even list them all. You have a question, Brent?
So I don't know if you guys are planning to go see the gulls at the dump, but the dump now, they're all low. They're like doing a lot of their stuff, like you can see it from the street.
Oh.
And there's just gulls everywhere. So that's my neck of the woods, so I drive past it.
Fantastic. We haven't been doing our gull trip for a few years because the last change of hands of the gull management, the dump management didn't appreciate birders, but that's good advice from Bryn that the gulls are feeding very low close to the road. So if you want to look at some rare gulls at the Salem landfill, head on by there during the day. Yes, Susan.
I just thought of something. I don't know if everybody's heard about the beavers on Fleming Creek.
That's true. There are beavers with a dam on Fleming Creek here at Mathi Botanical Gardens. And they're up, are they upstream north of Getty's? I haven't seen it yet, but.
If you brand new bridge, take either side of the creek and just go halfway up to 8.5 gates. So it's just a few minutes from the bridge.
North of Getty's. No.
The new bridge.
Here, at the garden. Just
Oh, the new bridge. Oh, yes. So the rebuilt bridge that only took 3 or 4 years or 5 years maybe to rebuild. Yes, it's just north of there in the gardens proper. So turn left after you get off the bridge and keep going north along the. Oh, yeah. Okay. So that's something that will be fun to do. And hopefully we get to see some beavers. They're letting them be, which is unlike some areas get beavers and then they get rid of them. This is a natural area. They're letting the beavers go. We'll see how that goes. It'll be interesting. So in terms of programs, our December program is the Christmas bird count. December 16th, we'll be having a potluck here and the tally here. So please plan to participate and join us for that. January's program is to be determined. And February, we will be here, I hope, or somewhere else with the Sierra Club here on Valley Chapter. We're having a joint meeting with them, and the topic is the piping plover recovery effort. And the speaker is Joan Kellenberg, who is a volunteer at Sleeping Bear Dunes for the piping plover recovery effort. But tonight, drum roll, we have Bryn Martin, a fantastic and favorite speaker and field trip leader for Washtenaw Audubon. He took a big group of Washtenaw Audubon people to Oaxaca in August, and Bryn has been leading field trips for us for countless years, and this is the first one since COVID. So it was a real milestone for Bryn and everyone who went, and for Washtenaw Audubon as well. So without further ado, Bryn, take it away. And I did not read the DEI statement.
Okay. Hi, people at home, and hi, people that are not at home, unless you live here. Welcome to your home. So yes, we went to Oaxaca, Mexico. And if you've never, if your only experience of Mexico is going to the resorts on the beaches, no judgment, I've done that too. There's a lot more to Mexico than that. Mexico's got a huge diversity of birds throughout their whole country. And when you're like, okay, where are we gonna go in Mexico to see the birds? Oaxaca has the highest number of endemics, and it's, if you want to see birds that you can't see in other parts of Mexico, if you're going to go somewhere, Oaxaca was our choice. And it's also, I believe, the safest state to go to. Everything, I mean, it was very nice there. It was very relaxed. Food was good. And some pictures of that we'll see. If you have any questions as we're going along, if you want to raise your hand or talk in the chat, go right ahead. I'm more than happy to answer if I can. So that's when we went. The dates are on there, and we saw 200 birds, over 200, and 42 endemics to Mexico. Many of them were just like only found in Oaxaca or just outside of it, but that's 42 that are found in Mexico. Some are found throughout the whole country, but all right. So how do I, there we go. Here, there's a picture of our intrepid crew that went. You may recognize some of those people. We tried to get a picture of the guy in the upper right, but he just wouldn't stop taking pictures of bugs and flowers. And but no, that's, I mean, it was amazing. We would loved having Mike Kelb on there because he could identify all the little stuff. We had the guide. Here's our guide right here, Eric Martinez, and I highly recommend him. If you're going to go birding anywhere in Mexico and you need a guide, want a guide, I definitely recommend him. He leads for rock jumper tours as well. So if you're like, I'm going to go to Mexico with rock jumper tours, I'll save you some money. Go just hire him. It's going to be the same trip, and he's awesome. He's amazing. But he doesn't know the bugs like Mike Kelp. So, you know, he knew some of the big butterflies, but I was glad Mike was there to take pictures of all the other little things and identify them after the fact. So there's our crew. All right, so here's a zoom in of Oaxaca, the state. Where we started was up here in the city of Oaxaca. We birded there for a few days. I showed this to kind of give you a sense of the topography there. Oaxaca City is in the middle of a valley. And so the first few days we birded either, you know, along the edges of it in the valley or up in the mountains. So that was just kind of getting lots of different birds and different elevations. If you've ever birded in the mountains, you know that you can get birds and then just drive up the road a little bit and totally different birds because you've gone up in altitude a little bit. So we did that for a few days, and then we drove down to the coast right here, and things got really hot and humid. That's more tropical type. And then we birded along the coast here, did a little pelagic, and then went back up into the mountains again, these southern mountains, and then back up to the valley. So if you want to see it on this map, drove down here, went here, and ended up there. Yes, you may.
I wondered initially why you chose to go in August, because I have a friend who goes to Oaxaca just in the wintertime, 3 months.
I mean, there's pros and cons to all the different reasons. I mean, one of them is I can't go in the winter because I'm a teacher, so I can't go. But there's pros and cons to any time. If you want to go see a lot of our birds, then you go in the winter because a lot of the Michigan birds will be there, wintering there as well. If you want to get away from our cold winter, good to go in the winter. But all the endemic birds are going to be there year round. They're always going to be there. And actually, by going to, you know, the majority of Oaxaca, I was actually cooler there than up in Michigan. My family was back home sweating, and I'm up here in like a sweatshirt, like chilly in the mountains. So, you know, it's just, if you're going for endemic birds, it's a lot of times it's like whenever's, you know, there, a lot of the times will be good. If you want to escape our winter, if you want to escape our summer, go there now, I guess, right? You can go up in the mountains. Yeah.
What was your highest elevation?
Our highest elevation was 10,000 feet. And that was on our second day. So you'll see some of those birds in a second. All right, so just a little slice to show that, you know, we weren't just looking at birds. On the left, upper left, you can see a picture. That's our van we had, which we were surprised. It was nice that we all got window seats, and that's just nice and relaxed. Food was amazing. I cannot believe how much they feed you there. All their portions were giant. I'm still trying to work off the weight from the trip. So, I mean, the food is really good, and he just picked some really nice restaurants. He said, I picked nice restaurants because I'm eating there too. This is where I want to eat. So yeah, we went to some nice places. Up here, we saw like a local, how they do their weaving, how they do their dyes. You know, sometimes we saw some of their old churches, like where our guide got married, he pointed out. And here's a weaving of some birds that, I don't know if anyone bought it, but he was showing it off to us. All right, so it's just showing that, you know, there was other things besides birds there. There is other things in life besides birds, right? Yeah, you can repeat after me. All right, so day one, we went to the eastern part of the valley, east of the Oaxaca City. There's some crazy birders out looking for things. You can kind of see the scrubby type habitat that was there. It's not even like we were in national parks. It was just, he knew a good birdie area, and that's where we went. This is a one-way road. There were a lot of people out there walking their dogs or jogging or things like that. It was just a dead-end street that ended in some ruins, and so there's not a lot of traffic, so you can walk around and see some birds. So here's some general birds. These are like common birds. You can see these birds in many other places, like the white-winged dove, right? You can see that even in the US. So just a social flycatcher. Upper right is our little version of the kiskadee that we get in Texas, and a little bit more exotic, a little more rare. Oh, and all the pictures are either taken by people in our group or our guide. I got him off of his like Facebook or his so I got a lot of pictures he took as well. So these are all pictures from either our guide or people on the trip. The majority of them are from, you can see there's a little watermark right there. So that's what it is. All right, so this is a gray silky flycatcher. And in the US, does anyone know what its cousin is? Anyone know what cousin of the silky flycatcher? We have one silky flycatcher in the US. Phainopepla, yeah. So there's like 3 or 4, I think. I don't know off the top of my head, but this is just one of them you can see there. Very cute little birds. And then here's one of their warblers that barely, I think once in a while one comes across the border, but it's not a usual bird in the US. The rufous-capped warbler. Here was a common endemic, vocal. And I tried to, when they had a really small range, I tried to put a little range map up here to show you, like, it's pretty much only found in Oaxaca. That's the zoomed in part of Mexico right there. It's very faint, but it's a little tiny part of Mexico that this white-throated towhee is. Towhee, right? That's how it's pronounced. They were asking me about not pronouncing it correctly. So, towhee, sure. All right. Here's some more endemics. We have the Boucard's wren.
That's not sticking out. How do you know?
I was like, why are there 4 words and 3 birds? I put them in. I was like, I need to put them in a different order, but then I didn't delete one. So sorry, my apologies. The Boucard's wren is the upper left. That's one of their endemic wrens. That's the range map of that one, that wren. Very similar, I would say, like our cactus wren. Ours, like we live out in out west. Our cactus ran. So that's very similar to that. Bottom left, this one was just hopping around the grounds of our hotel. The rufous-backed robin. Can you guess what it's related to here in Michigan? And then up in the upper right, or bottom right, you've got the gray-breasted woodpecker showing off his gray breast, or her, his. All right, so we got a couple more endemics. So if it has the E on there, maybe you've gathered that means it's endemic. I put the little E next to it. A little tiny hummingbird, upper left. That's a beautiful hummingbird. That was a hard one to get. It was very quick. It was tiny. We had to wait around. He's like, watch, these plants are here. I keep seeing them dart around here. We had finally we got them zooming in and perching for a little bit. So didn't get tons of looks at it, but it was quick, but we got it. And he said usually a lot of times he doesn't even try for that bird because it's not easy. He said, but the last time he heard it, and he's like, all right, I think we can get this bird. Bottom left is the bridled sparrow, one of the bigger type sparrows. And then the upper right is the cinnamon-rumped seed eater. So there's a very descriptive word, right? It's got a cinnamon rump and it's a seed eater, as you can see from its bill. But again, it shows you like the little range map of that it doesn't make it much out of Oaxaca. Even within Mexico, it doesn't go that far out of there. So this is for the hummingbird. This is for the bridled sparrow. So we got two others. These are not endemics, but they're two really nice birds. We have the Nutting's flycatcher, which is in the genus Myarchus, yes. So we've got here in Michigan, we have the great crested. But if you go out west, they start having 1, 2, 3 more types of them. If you start going down south, you're getting like 10, 15, 20, and they all look very similar to this guy. So I probably couldn't have told you what it is other than it's a Myarchus, but I mean, it's nice. I mean, he's in that family, and it's a Mexican type, but it does make it a little bit further out of Mexico, so it's not an endemic. And then the Barrelin hummingbird, which we also sometimes get in the US, barely, but it's just another of those hummingbirds. And to end the day, we also had a roadrunner. The lesser roadrunner, not the same species as we get in the US, which is the greater roadrunner. I'm sure it's not that much smaller. It didn't seem that much smaller, but maybe a little bit, so they could give it the name. I couldn't decide on whose picture to put, so I just put 4 different pictures of it. So there you go. So yeah, our guide heard him first. He heard him like he wasn't going beep beep, but he was making a noise that he recognized as a roadrunner. I wouldn't have recognized it as a roadrunner. But he found it up in the bush, and there you go, Mr. Roadrunner. All right, we have a little interlude. At the end of every day, I'll put a little interlude of things that are not birds. So there we go. And then I also listed a few different birds just to give you a few other birds we saw that day that I didn't get pictures of. Shows you some of like what the habitat looked like. Look beautiful. Grasshopper. Look at this giant, look at the pinchers on this guy. Our guide actually was driving, saw that when he was driving, and he pulled over, and he's like, I found a bug. So he saw it while we were driving. So he went and picked up that bug for us. He knew that we our group liked a lot of things that weren't birds. So he liked to show us even bugs. This one right here is one of the cooler butterflies. Who is it? Is it Anna's? Anna's 88. Look, it's 88. When you look at this, you're like, Anna's 88? Whatever, that's a weird name. Anna's 88, okay. And then there's the 88.
Is there a male or a female?
Mr. Kelb's the guy to ask those kind of questions. Butterfly question for Mr. Kelb. They do. They figure it out. Of course, I'm not sure who Anna is, and I'm not sure if they're going to change all the butterflies so they're not named after people. Maybe it's just going to be called the 88. But there's more than one 88. Well, let's call it A88. A88. So I don't know. I don't know who Anna is, but somebody's girl.
Is that the same butterfly closed and open?
Yes. This is, say, I overlapped them so I would remember. That's how I would remember that they go together. So yeah, this is it when it's open. This is it when it's closed. Usually they close and you're like, you're like, open up for a picture, open up. But I'm like, close for a picture, close for the picture, because you want to get the 88, because that's the interesting part of it. So apparently there's multiple kinds of 88s, and this is just one of them. So, all right, day 2 is when we went up into the mountains, up all the way to 10,000 feet, chilly, sweatshirts, and you can see in some of these birds are ones that you might recognize. They're mountain birds out west as well, like the yellow-eyed junco upper on the right-hand side. We get the yellow-eyed junco up in the mountains in Arizona. We also get the winter harbinger juncos here in Michigan. We've already found, right? They're saying it's winter time. So upper left is a bush tit. We also get those out west, but a lot of these are different races. They're different subspecies. Like this one's the black-eared bush tit, which looks a little different than the bush tits we get out west. Here's some more birds. The 2 on the right we get in the US. We got the olive warbler, which is not a warbler. Well, I guess our warblers aren't even really warblers either, but we don't need to go there. The olive warbler, very pretty bird. Upper right, we've got the red crossbill. That one, that's amazing that anyone got a shot of that, because they were way up in the tree. And not only to get a shot, but to get the crossbill, right? To show that it's what it is. So, and then we've also got one that does not come up here, and that's the chestnut-sided shrike vireo. Does anyone know the record for how many names a bird has? Like chestnut-sided shrike vireo. Is there one than 5, 6? There's gotta be. Chestnut-sided shrike vireo. It's a lot of names. But a very beautiful bird. Very beautiful bird. It's not an endemic, but because it's also found in Guatemala, but it's a very nice bird. Here is an endemic, one of their warblers, the red warbler. And another warbler that is not an endemic, but also very beautiful, the golden-browed warbler. I'll let you bask into their beauty for just take it in, take it in. All right, some more endemics. In the sparrow type family, we've got another towhee. The collared towhee, well, this one's further, the higher elevation towhee. And then we've got a brush finch, which is, again, in the sparrowish type family of birds. So another cutie. This one's a bit more of a skulker, though. This one was harder to, didn't come out and show himself that often, so it was good to get a picture of that. Oh, and by the way, none of these are my pictures. None of them are mine. I have a phone that's not even like up to date, so let alone a camera. Let alone some people bring cameras with in their own suitcase on some of these things, so they're impressive. All right, we have another, well, the 2 on the left are not endemics, but we have a couple of birds that go up in the canopy of the tree. We've got a solitaire, the brown-backed solitaire, and we've got a Bacard, the rose-throated Bacard. That's the female. Pretty bird as well. But what the main bird we were at this high elevation looking for was the dwarf jay, little tiny jay. But it was a hit or miss bird. It was not an easy bird. It's very specific, and you got to have some good luck. But one of the things is you got to look for a feeding flock. You got to look for these gray-barred wrens. They're the chatty ones. You'll hear them, and then there's the stellar jays that go in the group as well. You'll hear the stellar jays, you'll hear the gray-barred wrens, and then you got to look for the quiet little dwarf jays that. Who have you ever? What kind of like irony is that? Like a quiet jay, right? Like they exist, I guess. Quiet jays, quiet jays. So of course I wouldn't show this if we didn't see them. On the bottom left, that's us looking for them. Like, where are they? Where are the jays? And then again, showing you the range. It's tiny, tiny range, barely into Oaxaca State, and then a little bit further north. Here's how you'd find them. They'd darting around in there, going in the moss and looking for bugs and just kind of flitting around. If you've ever seen a feeding flock, the birds are moving around a lot. And so these guys are in there. But we heard the wrens, we heard the Stellar's jays, and then we saw the dwarf jay, and then we saw the dwarf jays. So very good bird. We were very happy to get that one. Okay, a couple other, forgot to take just ignore the picture on the bottom left. I'll come back to that one. The one in the upper left is the blue-throated mountain gem, but you might also know then as what? And blue-throated hummingbird. That's what it used to be called. And if you look in the Sibley's, or if you've been out west, they have the blue-throated hummingbird. That's this guy. It's just fancier. Now they've considered these in the mountain gem family, so now it's considered a mountain gem. And then we also have the white-eared hummingbird on the left. Yeah, right. When I'm standing here, it's on my left, right? We'll go with that. We'll go with that. So we have a little, we're at the end of the day, so we have another side note. We have some lizards. Look at all these lizards. These are spiny lizards, a couple different kinds. And then a picture of the group showing like how big, what are those, bromeliads? Agave, yes, agaves. So yeah. And it shows you just the habitat, what it was kind of like up there. And you see everybody's up in sweatshirts and trying to keep warm. All right, day 3, we were back in the valley again. We start off low on the ground. I got 3 flycatchers that we saw. The one on the bottom is the endemic. That's the pileated flycatcher. Then we got the Elania on the upper right, and then thick-billed kingbird, which we also get out west as well. Here's a couple of endemics. We have the West Mexican chachalaca. If you've been to Texas, maybe you've seen their chachalacas. So very similar. They're noisy. So then we have surprise, surprise, an endemic called the Oaxaca sparrow, which is a sparrow that's endemic to that area. Also was not an easy bird to get. It was very skulky, hiding in the brush, and then eventually we got it to poke its head out and show itself. Couple of in the same area, we got a couple other. The one on the right especially was a real skulker, very hard to see. No, nobody saw it this good, I don't think. I had to get this picture from the guide. Because it stays down in the foliage and pokes its head out. The slaty vireo. The one on the left did make an appearance. That is one of our pictures. Can I say our pictures, even if I didn't take? I can say that. Okay, I'm asking the photographer if I can say it's our picture. It is Martha's. Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. I'll start talking faster so it doesn't. All right, so the golden vireo as well, then another endemic to Mexico. Here's another hard bird that we had to work hard on. Look how hard we're working on the bottom left. Some of us look like they're working harder than others. Some people are like, all right, find the bird. Tell me when we see the bird. You know those people in your group, don't you? They're like, tell me when the bird's there. Some of you are blushing. I know it's you, right? Okay, I see who it is. As you see, look, I'm working hard. I'm just saying, I'm looking. Do you guys see the ocellated thrasher in the picture? If anyone was like, yes, I'd be like, tell me who your obstetrician. Sorry. All right, there. Do you see the one up on the right? You see that one? If you don't see that one, then don't tell me your doctor. All right. Once we got up to the higher elevation, then we got some different birds. You go to another elevation, you get different birds. Like you're up in the mountains, so you get the mountain trogon on the right, tufted flycatcher on the upper left, another redstart, the painted redstart. That's the one we get out west too, right? Painted redstart. Yes, some people. And then there's another Bacard. Our guide was actually surprised to see this guy. Not that they're super rare, but that you never know where and when they're going to show up. So it's just like we found him up in the tree, and he's like, "Oh yes, it's the great color Bacard." So it was a good one for him to point out to us. Interlude at the end, we got some butterflies. There were lots and lots of very beautiful butterflies. Okay, for this day, it's mostly a travel day, but at the beginning we did go to these ruins. They're called the Monte Alban. This is Zapotec ruins, which is before the Aztecs, which is before the Mayans. I think, if I got it right, that these were built around like 500 BC. So these are very, very old, the city. This is an aerial shot just kind of showing you, and we went there to just kind of look around and take in a little history. Here's some pictures as well of Monte Alban. I think this is the best preserved or the biggest like Zapotec ruins in the world. I think something like that. So, and you got to climb up and down stairs, as you can see. Look at our group climbing down the stairs. Look at that, we're climbing down the stairs. Nobody fell, so that's good. But it shows you the scope and just how big and massive this place was. But there were birds there too. There's the blue hummingbird. Our hummingbird. I need to go to sleep. See, I'm seeing who's on their toes, right? I'm seeing who's paying attention. The fact that you're correct. If I was doing this in the classroom, I'm a teacher. I would mess up with the kids, just be like, no one will correct me. You guys are like, it's not a hummingbird, it's a mockingbird. And I prefer that. I would rather it be said what it really is. But it is a mockingbird. Is it more beautiful than our mockingbird? Yeah. Yes. Different. It's different. I like that. It's different. And got some lizards.
Mating season?
I think he does that year round. He's exactly. Yeah, what is that? The one on the left, I think it's like an anole type. If it's not an anole, it's like that. Okay, good. Upper right is the gecko, and then bottom is a iguana. Not the typical green iguanas. This is a different kind of iguana. Stenosaur, I think that's like the genus name. Yeah, it's a different kind of iguana than our typical. All right, so I put this one here just to show you. Okay, so that was all Oaxaca area. Now we drive down to the coast, and now the next few days are going to be along the coast, starting right here. They call this the Isthmus area, and there's some things like this is where you got two different like types of habitats kind of colliding because of this Isthmus area. So here, these are some non specific to the area birds, but still good, of course. We got the gray hawk, which we get up in Arizona. We've got the ferruginous pygmy owl. And don't say, oh, you guys are disturbing him. He's trying to sleep. He's a diurnal owl. He comes out during the day, and so he's out hunting and with his big eyes and little tiny owl. And then we got a big jay on the bottom left, the white-throated magpie jay. There's two different magpie jays, and they don't really overlap with their range. This one its range goes down into Costa Rica, and then they're a little further north. There's the black-throated magpie jay that goes up the west coast of Mexico. A couple of endemics. We have the turquoise-crowned hummingbird, and then this little sparrow with look at his tiny little range. The cinnamon-tailed sparrow. So, and here's a beautiful. Again, look at the range. I don't know what's more beautiful, the bird or the range. You have to go to this one little area to see this rose-bellied bunting, also known as the Rosita's bunting. And there's another, oh, and if you're like, oh, this most beautiful bunting, what about this bunting? The orange-breasted bunting, also an endemic. So very, very beautiful birds. Maybe, I don't know. Anybody? Is it male and female? That's the question.
Some adult
Yeah, I like that. And the one on the right, or yeah, there's fuller breeding plumage than the other. I don't know. And we have a little picture of some more butterflies. All right, day 6, we're now in like this. Now it's a more humid tropical type habitat. We have the rufous-naped wrens, which are very similar to some of those other wrens we had earlier, but now it's a different habitat, so it's a different kind of wren, but it's very similar. And we've also got the bright-rumped Attila. Do you think that's a very peaceful or aggressive bird? Named an Attila. So yes. It's a flycatcher. It's in the flycatcher family, so it looks very different than many of the other flycatchers, but it is a flycatcher in the family. A couple of endemics. The one on the left, a beautiful red-breasted chat. When you get to names like this, it just gets all mixed up too. It's not related to our thing, the bird we call a chat in Michigan, which is not, it's all messed up. So the names don't necessarily go with the taxonomy when we talk about chats and buntings. How many different kinds of bunting? Some are sparrows, some are finches, some are sparrows. So, a chat, I don't even know. I think this one's related to, is this one like related to our cardinal maybe? So, yeah. Yeah, it's something along those lines. I know it's not a warbler though, but it's beautiful. It's a cool bird. Then we've also got an endemic woodpecker, the golden-cheeked woodpecker.
As big as red belly.
And it's in the same genus, as you could probably tell, right? It looks very same kind of type as the red-bellied woodpecker. Couple more endemics. We've got a motmot and a trogon, the citrulline trogon, and then the russet-crowned motmot. The motmot's the one on the left. I have to think now, left, right? The russet-crowned motmots. A lot of times, if you see them, they like do a tick-tock with their tail, like a grandfather clock for. I can say it to this crowd. We know what grandfather clocks are, right? My students wouldn't, but we all know what they are. Citrulline trogon on the upper right. So, in there, I think. Well, I'm just saying, worldwide, I would say maybe 10, or maybe under 10 motmots in the world. And in Mexico, they probably have most of them somewhere.
Costa Rica has 3.
Oh, they have 3, yeah. Yeah, they would have more, and they probably have some of the same ones as Costa Rica as well. But this one, yeah, is one of the ones that only in Mexico for this guy. Another endemic, another pygmy owl on the left. This one wasn't easy, and we worked on it. We called it in, and finally, I saw a little football zoom across the road, and I'm like, that? And he's like, yes, that's it. It looks like a little football was zooming around. We finally got on it. Everybody got good looks at the little pygmy owl. And the other, I just put them both on the same slide, but so the pygmy owl is the diurnal owl. You can see them during the day, but then we did go out at night. I didn't time that. I promise I didn't. We go out at night, boom, it's dark. I like that though. Thank you. She does what she can do. We did go out at night, and we got a couple of owls, and the mottled owl is this one right here. And here's one of the best birds. People might vote this as the best bird. I don't know. But the lesser ground cuckoo. Ground cuckoos are, besides the Rhodes runner, are pretty skulky. They're not easy birds to get. Wherever you go, the ground cuckoos are just not easy. And this guy's usually not easy either. We heard him earlier in the trip and I was like, okay, I guess he's just gonna be a herd only bird. That's kind of sad, but take what you can take. But then this guy just hopped out. And I think everybody on the trip has pictures that look just like this. Everybody's like, and we got him in the scope. We were able to like take digit pictures, and it was just, he gave us a great showing. So the lesser ground cuckoo.
Sound.
I am not good at bird. I don't know.
Pretty loud and safe.
Yeah, but I can't repeat it right now. It would not be one that I'd be like, that's a cuckoo. It would, the guy just say, that's this cuckoo, and then you might hear it again, but yeah, I can't repeat it. I can't emulate it. More butterflies, which means we're moving on to another day. And that day was the pelagic day. As far as pelagics go, it was probably the weakest pelagic I've ever been on. But if you've never been on a pelagic, I mean, that's nice. We got some decent birds, just not a lot of them. I think when you're in places where you get colder water coming up, you're going to get a higher diversity. And it might have just been the day as well. I mean, you never know what you're going to get every day. And but this place was good because apparently you don't have to go as far out to sea to get the ocean birds. A lot of times you'll have to go on a boat like an hour or so, maybe 2 hours, till you get to the place where the seabirds are. And this one, you still can see the shore from, unless you're like somebody, I'm not going to name any names, somebody on the trip was going, wow, we can't even see shore anymore. I go, just turn around. Oh, there it is. No names, no names. All right, so we see some boobies, the Nazca booby, and the brown booby, and then we've got a tropic bird as well. We also had some shearwaters, storm petrels, dolphins, mating sea turtles. They were like at the surface, hanging out together. I think somebody on the trip was like, "Are they just giving each other a piggyback ride?" No, I know. I'm like, okay. But I bolded on here. One thing that I found was interesting, black terns. Apparently, I didn't know this. Our guide said when they go down south for the winter, they become pelagic. They're pelagic terns. So they're out in the ocean, like, according to him, that's what he said. So again, I haven't confirmed that, but that's what he said. And I pretty much trust him. All right, so after that, so that's where we did the pelagic. Now we're going to start heading up back towards Oaxaca. Again, go up into the mountains again to making our way there. So day 8, a couple more endemics. We have the blue something. How many is it? Blue-headed? Blue-headed? I think. Blue-capped? Yeah, it looks like there's 2 P's, doesn't it? Blue cap. And all these birds like have the same, like, well, there's a blue head, blue cap, blue headed, blue, whatever. But it's a very range restricted one. It's only found in Oaxaca pretty much. But we got the blue capped hummingbird. And also the red-headed tanager. This one we were looking around, couldn't find it. And then we found him fighting with himself in a reflection. He was on a car fighting with his reflection. We're like, all right, there he is. He wanted to show himself off. All right, he's just busy fighting, as you sometimes see cardinals do, right? So we saw this big tough guy. That's an awesome picture, though. That's really nice. Okay, some other birds, and then some crazy bird watchers looking for those birds. We saw a bat falcon pretty high up. Not a real good look, but it was way up high. The masked titira, and then the orange-fronted parakeets. Usually we just heard them like go flying past as parakeets do. But I think once or maybe twice we got them perched where people could get some pictures of these parakeets. Oh, sure. This one. Picture of a picture. Very meta.
So birds like that in Costa Rica,
It might be this orange fronted. It's not an endemic, so it might be the but Oh, the Mastityra, yes, for sure, those are in Costa Rica. And parakeets are, and then, but they have lots of, they have orange fronted, orange throated, orange brown headed. So it's, I don't remember exactly if this one's in Costa Rica, but I think it gets there. But yes, the Mastityra definitely is in Costa Rica. All right, we have the what's it?
I thought it was ivory.
I was like, who's laughing? Why are they laughing? You see ivory billed and you just must be wood. Yeah, it's an ivory billed wood creeper. Oh, maybe that's what they saw in Louisiana, right? They just got the last part of the name wrong. So yeah, then they got a little sparrow, the rusty sparrow, and then this toucanet it's pretty much just a subspecies. It's the, what is it? Emerald toucanet, yeah. It's, but it's very distinctive. This specific subspecies is only found in this one little area in Mexico. So the Wagler's toucanet. And again, it's a little toucan, you know, it's not that big of a toucan. It's a cute little guy. The place we stayed was I don't remember the name of the place, but it was really nice. It was like we had these little cabanas and your little porch that you could look out, like it's on a hill, and you see some cabanas down there. It's just very nice, relaxing place. Apparently the town is known for its mushrooms, not the consumable on a pizza type mushrooms either, the psychedelic mushrooms. And they had like pictures of it everywhere, and they're advertising. They have a big hippie counterculture that likes to go visit there. That's not why we were there. I won't name any names. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so it was a nice place, and we had a couple of birds hopping around. This guy is usually for the before on the trip, he was a skulker and hiding in the bushes. And here at this place, he like to act like American Robin, hopping around for people to take pictures of. This is our house wren, but it's a different subspecies, the brown-throated house wren. And they had a couple of feeders there as well. And this is one of the ones that was at the feeder, the garnet-throated hummingbird. All right, our last day. One last hummingbird endemic, the bumblebee hummingbird, which was not an easy one as well. It was zooming around. Everyone's always on this flower. Oh, now he's gone. 15 minutes later, oh, there's one over there on the floor. Oh, never mind. So eventually, I think most people got a view of them. He'd perch once in a while. Tiny little hummingbird, right? Bumblebee hummingbird. And then the flower piercer on the left. If you've never heard of flower piercers, you can see they got the hooked beak. They're cheaters. They go to the flowers, and the flowers want you to go inside there so that you could get the pollen. You can spread the genes around, and this guy goes just to the base and like makes a little incision and then steals the nectar that way without helping them pollinate. He's a cheater. The flower piercer, the flower cheater. That's what he should be called. So they're not doing what they need to do biologically to help the flowers that they rely on. You'd think they'd want to help them, but selfish. All right, our last bird. Well, that wasn't. Maybe it was our last bird, but one of the last birds and the last bird on the slideshow, the white-throated jay, also an endemic, also very skulky, also a hit or miss bird. Our guide's like, I don't know if we're gonna get it. He tried like 3 or 4 locations, nothing. He's like, I hear him in the distance. I'm like, do I have to count it as a herd only in the distance? But the last day he was able to get some. Again, they were hopping around, they were moving, so it was not easy to get a good look at them. You'd get a good look for a few seconds, and then it'd be moving, just hopping around through the brush and trees. But it was a nice jay to end the trip with. All right, so that's it for me. I don't have any other slides. I didn't do the end slide or anything like that. So this is your last slide. Yes, questions, and I'll try to repeat them.
And what type of accommodations you stay? Hotels, lodges?
Mhm.
Can you give us? the
I should have
rundown?
I should have taken pictures. I probably did, but I didn't include them. We stayed at hotels. I mean, the only one I really have right here is like a little cabanas, which is that was like you had your own little place. They had like each little room had its own fireplace, and in the evening they would put the firewood in there and they start it for you, and it was really nice. Yeah, it was really nice.
So were any of them all inclusive where they feed you or they were all?
I mean, we were fed the trip was all inclusive.
But some times you had to go to restaurants and sometimes they fed you as a.
But I don't, yeah, but I mean, the guy, I don't know. I mean, the trip was all inclusive, so therefore, like, I don't know which ones included it in their lodging. You know what I mean? Or if the guide had to pay extra at the place. So sometimes we did eat at the, I guess maybe this answers your question. Sometimes we did eat at the hotel at the restaurant, but other times we ate at hotels or restaurants outside the hotel. Like he said, oh, I know this place that's got it's Mexican street tacos, but upscale. So he took us there, and it was real. I mean, he took us to really nice restaurants. I would say they're very nice restaurants. They're very good portions, very good food, and so yeah, we went to the restaurants when we could. Way too big.
Way too.
Way too big.
I mean, we could each, two people could have ordered one thing and they would have both still.
They're like, here's your burrito.
Yeah.
And you can't, there's no doggy bags. There's no refrigeration for you to take it back to. And it's like you feel bad wasting all that food. But yeah, this is it. So yeah, so we sometimes ate at the usually we ate at restaurants. Sometimes the restaurant was the one at the hotel though. And we were always in town, and I don't think we were ever like out in the middle of nowhere that
The hummingbird restaurants.
right for lunch. Yeah, sometimes when you're out in the field, yeah, but again, it was a nice restaurant, but it was yeah, called Colibre. So that's one of the words for hummingbird in Spanish, right? And and they had feeders there as well too. Mezcal restaurant, where they show you how they make a certain mezcal is a type of alcohol, and they show you how they make that. And some people might want to try it if you're there. A couple of people had a little sample. Some people did. So, other questions you guys have? Any questions at home?
About the water?
He told us that everywhere that he was taking us, the water was purified. Some people didn't trust that and still got bottled water everywhere they went, and some people are like, I'll trust them and go with it. He's like, it's in their best interest to not get their people sick. So
These trucks of purified water you take to the restaurants and hotels. This is my 18th trip to Mexico, and it's the first time I've ever had ice or eaten a salad, and it was great. So you could do all those things.
and some of the people on the trip did have some belly issues, but that doesn't. I don't know that it was due to the water or if it was just due to traveling or whatever. And it could be just eating weird things or just waking up at crazy hours to go birding all day in the weather. So, other questions? Yeah.
Favorite moment?
Well, I'd say the lesser ground cuckoo is probably a highlight bird, just because you don't expect to see one that good. Moment? I don't know. That's a hard one. You have a moment? So some people are saying the jays are their favorite birds of the trip. Yeah, and I think I love jays in general, so I'm glad I like jays. But I think the ground cuckoo probably just because it gave us such a good look, and usually they're so hard. So. Favorite moment? I'm trying to think like what my favorite moment. Probably somebody said something funny. My favorite moment. Like, thank you. Other questions? Anything else? More than happy to answer. Yes. Don't know yet. If you're interested in joining, what's the best way to get it out to people? Just put it on the, Julia, you know, the best way to announce things? The website? Yeah, okay. Mhm. Once we figure out like where we're gonna go and get the word out and see if it's a place people want to go to. So, yeah. Yeah. And it's always and it's nice. I like the group was great, that all the birders that went with us, it was great. Everybody kind of had their own little things and everything, it all worked, you know. Some people wanted to take pictures, some people wanted to look at, you know, insects, some people just wanted just birds, and the pace worked well that it could go for everybody. So that was nice that everybody was, you know, everybody's a serious birder, but everybody's also relaxed, and we're here for the whole experience. Yeah.
Yeah, and really to mention, we got the privilege of seeing those ruins. We had a lot of really great birds in and around the area themselves. So we got this kind of great archaeological experience with the sweet, nice birds to go home.
Right. You can't take the birding out of the birder, right? So anywhere you are going, even if it's not a birdie place, everybody has their binoculars, so you'll see something.
In what month do you usually, plan?
I usually go in the summer or spring break.
When
Oh, I'm trying to put it together right now. I just don't want to say anything because I don't want to like jinx anything. So I have ideas. I just haven't like made anything finalized yet. Still working with the international companies. So. Other questions? Anything? Or if you have a personal question you don't want to ask in front of everybody, you can ask me later. All right. All right. Thank you.
Much, Ben, that was fantastic. We're looking forward to the next one. Yeah, so